Episode 229. It was an almost kiss. When Henry came out of the bathroom and found that they were gathering together, he walked over and sat next to Jake. "What, are we ready to play games?"
"Yes. Truth or dare. Now scatter. Don't crowd around me."
The sofa was ring-shaped, and there was a large glass table in the middle. Drake divided the cards in his hand into two lots. One was the truth, and the other was dare. He shuffled each lot and then placed them in different piles. There was a glass bottle in the center of the table, and everyone formed a circle around it. Henry did not care how it went and said, "In this case, pregnant women first. Sunshine, it's your turn. Spin the bottle." As a playful person, Serena did not mind it. She turned the bottle, but did not have good luck. The bottle stopped spinning and stopped it herself. Serena sighed. "Hen, you did that on purpose, right?" Hearing the nickname she used, Jake felt a bit sour and glanced at Serena with a slight warning. Serena shrunk her head, not knowing what she did that had upset him. Drake asked her,
"Truth or dare?"
Truth. Dare is too exciting." She then reached for a card. At first glance, her face was red. "Yeah, wait. I don't think I'm fit to play this game."
"No!"
Drake said without mercy, then took the card in her hand, laughed, and read,
"What is the sex like between you and your partner? How long did you do it for the last time you did it?"
Serena was almost crying with embarrassment. She pulled at Jake's sleeve and said, "I don't want to play." How could he say something like that out loud? Jake glanced at Drake, elegantly unbuckled his cufflinks and asked,
"Where did you find such a scandalous stack of cards? Are all those cards filled with such questions?"
Of course, Drake had done his bit to see what impressed the women. He knew this game was meant to be played one-on-one with your partner, and not with a group of friends. He was obviously not going to admit that, but seeing he had gotten Jake Robinson into a tight spot, he really did not want to let this one go.
"What, Jake? Do you want to bail? It's okay. Just answer one part of the question, Serena. Don't be afraid of Jake. It doesn't matter,"
Drake said. "I really don't want to say." Serena blushed scarlet, clutching Jake's hand and looking to him for help.
"Tell them."
Jake smiled, glancing at Henry absent-mindedly.
"It is no shame."
Henry avoided his glance and took a sip of water, his blue veins standing out on the back of his hand. Serena blushed as she murmured in a small voice, "I can't remember the duration. It should be half an hour? Or an hour?"
"How many times a night?"
Mary asked eagerly. "Mary?
Is that 5 or 6 or 7?
Stop it, Mary."
"It is 8 times.
Jake took a sip of water and cleared his throat. Serena punched on his leg. "No way!"
"Yes. After the shower, you..."
Serena's face was even redder. Covering her face and lying on the sofa, she cried, "Don't say that!" Everyone laughed, and Henry also pulled his lips reluctantly. Mary saw it. Then she let Serena turn the bottle again. This time it stopped on Henry. "Dare." Henry did not hesitate to answer, and then he got up and took a card. But seeing the instruction on the card, the corner of his mouth twitched. Throwing the card towards Drake, he exclaimed, "What is this thing? How can it even have something like this on it?" Drake took the card and read it with a smile.
"You are dared to kiss the person in front of you for 30 seconds.
The more he read, the deeper the sense of crisis he felt. Among the people present, Mary was off limits, and sitting beside him, and so was Serena. Then there was Miranda, who sat bang opposite to Henry. Gosh, No, Miranda was his. Drake calmed himself down and said,
Do you want to switch it?
No, why does he get a leeway? You were all so mean to me. Serena objected. Why didn't you change it for me, but now you are for him?
Yes,
Mary echoed. That's right. You can't change it. Stephen sat straight, his hand slightly lifted on Miranda's hand. Her heart couldn't help but thump. Henry pursed his lips and said after a long while,
Then I choose to drink.
We'll finish this. Mary took the half bottle of whiskey and raised her chin.
Crap!
Henry burst out. Miranda felt a bit shocked.
That's too much!
Mary, this is not... Serena's voice interrupted. If he finished that, he would probably be sent to the hospital. Mary didn't feel that something was wrong. She said matter-of-factly, Hey, if you don't follow the rules, you will be punished. You can ask anyone, and the person who is selected can't refuse. Otherwise... Mary put the bottle down. Drink. Henry turned his face away in pain and glanced at the crowd. Jake was holding his wife. There was no expression on his cold face, but the warning was obvious. Mary was looking at him with a big pair of eyes, but he knows her thoughts about him. But she already had a boyfriend, hadn't she? She wished she had sat in front of him, but she didn't dare move knowing Jackson was beside her. Henry finally turned his eyes to Miranda. Stephen and Drake both warned him with their looks. Henry had a solid idea. He knew that it was Miranda who was selected, but beside her was Drake. And technically he too was opposite to him. So, Henry smiled mischievously and looked at Drake and said,
Well, looks like it's going to be you and me.
Drake looked like he had seen a ghost when Henry moved closer to him. He thought he was going to pass out from a seizure. Henry was a couple of inches away from Drake's lips when he saw Drake had almost tears in his eyes. He smiled and said,
I'd rather take swigs from the whiskey bottle than kiss you, Howard.
Henry pulled back, took the whiskey bottle, and took 3 large swigs from it. He looked okay and winked at Serena. Drake sat there confused, relieved but rejected by Henry. Stephen burst out laughing, and Miranda giggled a little. Henry mockingly told Drake,
You just missed the best kiss of your life.
Drake retorted and said,
That would have probably been his first kiss ever.
Serena laughed mercilessly, holding Jake's arm, almost out of breath. Jackson was laughing the loudest. He said,
Drake, if your father knows about this, he'll break your leg.
Mary felt a bit reluctant to laugh. Looking in Henry's direction, she hid her expression behind her glass of water. Jackson clearly noticed her odd behavior. He glanced first at her and then in Henry's direction. His eyes suddenly became dark. Henry made himself another drink and returned to the bottle. Drake had no time to process what had just happened and was still in shock. The game resumed and the bottle was spun. This time it stopped on Jackson. Jackson directly leaned over to take a card of truth and handed it to Drake. Drake read,
Is your current partner the love of your life? If you're not married, are you willing to marry him or her?